Hi everyone, I'm Allan Torp. Today I want to talk all about materials with potential. Recycling and sustainability has become the new black, or maybe I should say the new green. I want to talk all about the different materials we see in the interior, a bit about the different certifications you need to know, and finally touch upon the green dilemmas. But more on that later. If you're new to the channel, I talk all about Scandinavian decor, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And if you really like it, give it a super thank you. As the old saying says, Rome wasn't built in one day and neither will a sustainable world. But if we all do our part with small steps, like with some more sustainable choices in our decor, we will become greener every day. So let's start by looking at some of the materials we often encounter in our decor, starting with plastic. We have finally figured out that plastic is ideal for recycling. Used plastic is heated and melted into small granulates, which can be reused, often in some very colorful results. Plastic can also be reused multiple times, so a good place to start is to make sure to always sort your plastic from the rest of your garbage so it can be recycled. A few notable pieces made in recycled plastic is a Traditions Relight chair, which is both very beautiful and very modern, but also, believe it or not, made in 100% recycled plastic, and a good example of the colorful recycled result is the Norman Copenhagen big chair. So let's move on to one of the other major materials in interior, wood. They say that wood is one of the most sustainable materials. You can almost always sand it down or paint it to give it new life, which really just extend the life of the wood. When shopping for products in wood, you should of course look for products made from leftover tree that is often just thrown out, but also FSC certified tree which come from forest that is not cut down quicker than it can reproduce. You should also look for locally grown tree, so shipping distance is shorter. Right now we really see a shortage of tree in Europe, as many gets their oak from Russia. Rattan is one of the quickest growing materials in the furniture production. It has become very trendy very quickly, and it also produces more than 30% more oxygen than other trees. Okay, so brands to look for could be Skagerak, which is a front runner when talking about sustainable wood products. They are very transparent with their production, and not only are their products stunning, they are also very long lasting. I'd almost say if you make any home decor in wood today and it's not FSC certified, it's really a sign of failure. Before we go on, I feel like now is a good time to quickly go over the different certifications you should look for. It's going to be a little bit technical, but I still think it's really important. I'll try to make it fast. The first one is a Nordic one called the Nordic Swan Eco Label, which is the Nordic's official eco label, which ensures an eco-friendly life cycle that protects both humans and the Earth's resources. Okay, so then there's the EU flower. This one puts very strict standards for the environment and chemical usage. The goal is of course to reduce the total environmental impact. The Global Organic Textile Standard, or the GOTS, is the leading textile certification when talking about organic and social standards. The fair trade certification is often seen on food products, which should ensure good working conditions, sustainable production, and ensure a minimum wage for the farmers. There has been stories in the media that everything wasn't always as good as we thought when a product had the fair trade label on it. They say it's better now, at least. Then there is the cradle to cradle, which I first heard of when I bought my first bed from Alping. C2C means a circular production and looks at products' total sustainability. Let's just stay with Alping as the example. At least 90% of their mattresses can be reused. They offer most of their products in 100% recycled materials, and they have since 2010 worked towards being 100% sustainable, meaning that they said goodbye to power from fossil energy and uses 60% less water. As I said before, when buying any products in wood, always look for the FSC certification, which comes from forest that is not cut down quicker than it can reproduce. PEFC, the program for the endorsement of forest certification, is also sustainable forests, where biodiversity is also taken into account. Okay, I think that's enough certifications, and that's all you should know and look for. So let's move on to other sustainable materials. Textile production is actually one of the most damaging environment sinners because of the large amount of chemicals and water in the production. So when shopping for products with textile, look for the GOTS, the Eco Flower, and the Nordic Swan Eco Label, which ensures that the production is looking out for the environment, at least. There's a natural, semi-synthetic, or synthetic fabric, where the natural is made from the fur from animals like sheep or from plants, which means they are biodegradable if they're not treated with some shitty toxic chemical, of course. Linen and cotton are natural materials as well. Before moving on to some of the green dilemmas, I just want to touch base on paint. A lot of paint is full of chemicals. That's not only bad for the environment, but also very harmful to our health. We will breathe in the toxic, but also flush a lot of it out in the drain when cleaning the brushes. If you are watching from Europe, you should look for the Swan Eco Label or the EU Flower certification, which ensures that the paint lives up to the strict environmental and chemical standards. If you're watching from the US, I think labels like Backdrop or Clear Paint is good options for paint. So green dilemmas. Should we buy recycled or support entrepreneurs who is producing new sustainable products? Do we go for recycled plastic or classic iconic designs? The green readjustment is full of dilemmas, which could lead to a few gray hairs. Let's look at some of the paradoxes at least, and worry about gray hair later. Wood versus recycled plastic. Is it better for nature if your new coffee table is made from recycled plastic from the ocean or from wood? Wood generally has a great climate footprint as it obtains CO2 while growing. What you need to make sure of is that it's not a tree grown in what we call primary forest, like the Amazonas. However, you could also argue that plastic is more sustainable as you recycle an already made material which we have already spent energy on already. No materials is an infinite resource. Literally all materials put strain on the environment. So in terms of the environment, nothing is free no matter what. Then there's the question, classic versus innovation. Is it better to buy one of the good old classic pieces or to support sustainable entrepreneurs? In terms of trying to create a sustainable interior, then long lasting is probably the most important thing. The longer we use a product, the less new products needs to be produced. So really the most sustainable thing you can do is to buy a long-lasting iconic piece you want to enjoy for the rest of your life and maybe even your kids want to inherit. The last dilemma I could think of today is flat packed versus locally produced. Should we buy locally produced products or is it okay to buy from abroad if it comes flat packed? First, it really doesn't tell much about a product that it's locally produced, especially if you know nothing about the materials it's made of. And actually the transport doesn't really count much in the bigger sustainable picture. It is always better to buy a quality chair than two cheap ones. The fact that the product lasts for a long time always wins, even if it's produced and sold around the world. Okay, before I go, here's a quick recap of the things to take from this long talk when you go look for new pieces for your home. Does it have one of the environmental certifications? Although no certification is perfect, it is always better to make sure the materials used has at least one of them. If you are buying any of the Scandi brands, look for the Nordic Swan label and the EU flower label. If there is any wood in the product, always make sure it's either FSC or PEFC certified. It is always a good idea to look for a vintage or pre-owned version of the piece you're looking for. The classic pieces are always on auction somewhere. Always ask yourself, can it be fixed? If it breaks, can I get spare parts? Ask the brand if they provide any repair service. Also, can it be resold? Although most can be resold, there's just not many who wants to buy an old Billy bookcase from IKEA, which means it often ends up in the dump. And lastly, can it be recycled? Although your new products will hopefully last a very long time, it might be worth thinking about its recycle value. Go for pieces in just one material, or at least pieces that can be taken completely apart, so you can keep recycling both the metal or the plastic parts. That is all, my friends. That was a real lesson in the class of Scandi decor. So class dismissed. Although sustainable living works no matter your interior style, I hope this is giving you something to think about. Sound off in the comments if you are mindful of the environment when you buy new interior for your home. Remember to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Until next time.